think about work wives and work husbands? Because I know a lot of people, they have their little work friends or their little love interests and stuff at work. Do you think that's something to joke about, or do you think that can be an issue in a relationship, like a major issue?
I'm a single that definitely has, met my partner in the workplace. So I don't think I play around with that at all. If you're not single, um, and you're blurring that line at your job. I know some people joke about it, but I also feel like, as we spend a lot of time at work, and the amount of time that we spend with our coworkers, it can sometimes even exceed the amount of time that you might spend with your partner or that you might spend at home. So I feel like, you know, introducing them into the conversation as like your work wife or your work husband, it's a slippery slope. I mean, because when you spend a lot of time with a person and you get to see a person in a professional environment, and you're on your best behavior for the most part when you're working. So people get to see a side of you that typically is a little bit more refined. You're a little bit more cautious and careful about your demeanor and the way you carry yourself. They get like a really good representation of who you are. And it's easy for somebody to maybe fall for that, especially if that other person happens to be single or they're not in a relationship. So I don't know, the idea of like my man going off to work and he's got his work wife, like I'm probably not even gonna joke like that. I do understand that sometimes you have like a friendship and a bond that you have with the opposite sex. Maybe if you're working with somebody and they make your job easier, or maybe they help your day to go by faster by just, you know, cracking jokes or bringing in that positive energy, or they're encouraging. It can develop into a budding friendship, you know, pretty easily. And I can understand, you know, how people get to spaces where they're like playing around and kind of joking around with that. Take a look at this.
What you doing over there?
Stop. I'm trying to clock in.
Clock me in. You ain't gonna clock me in?
Oh my God.
You ain't gonna clock me in?
I'm gonna clock you in.
You gonna make me put it in.
There go daddy, y'all.
Sit down. Get in the back seat. Get back there. Come on, man. You're doing too much. Sit down.
Hey, baby.
Come on, pull up. Let's go.
He's at work with the work wife, having a good time, laughing, bubbly personality. They're having a good old time. And then it's like the family comes to pick him up from work and he's just like, oh, God, like, I gotta go home.
That's nasty work right there. That was nasty work. Like, that's crazy, because that's like an actual representation on how some of this goes down. And I personally would not be okay with that. Now, to find out that you're getting into the car and you're not just tired from work, or, you know, like kind of, you know, just feeling like you're over the day, you want to, you know, just relax. The kids are going crazy. Okay, we can deal with that. Once you get home, you know, you can relax and, you know, enjoy the time we spend. But to find out that you're irritated because you didn't left your work wife, like, that's a problem. That's a big problem for me. And as far as like work husbands, work wife, I wouldn't play like that either. I wouldn't introduce someone as, oh, you know, that's my work boo or anything like that, because you know, like we talked about before, that those situations, you know, they can develop into something, and it could be good or bad, but, you know, that would have to be if the people are single. Someone in a relationship should not have a work wife or a work boo, anything like that, because you're treading on real thin ice there, and you don't want to disrespect your partner, your home, the home dynamic and stuff like that because of something that you have going on at work. And I do understand that when people are at work, you know, they do have that colleague that makes it a little easier, you know, make the day go by. You guys can, you know, find some laughter, you know, and make some good times out of, you know, being at work. And, you know, like we like to say or joke around, slaving at work all day and stuff like that. So yeah, it's cool when you have someone to make your day easier, but not to where you sliding up on them and now it's like physical touch and you guys get to giggling and all that type of stuff. I'm not for it. Don't let me find out about it because now I'm at the job like I work there with y'all. And it's now it turned into something it don't have to be. Now this girl gonna be scared to come out this building because she's playing with me. On top of you playing with me. Now I don't even think you can work here anymore. So, that's there. That video was wild. That was real nasty work because he got into the car frustrated, just feeling like that was not the place he wanted to be at all. Do you think with past situations, that you've been in or you encountered or that you've heard about in general, do you think that video is a real representation on how things can be for people? Like, do you think it's a lot of truth to that video?
Yeah, I mean, I do actually. I think you know, the workplace it can be an escape for some, for a lot of people. And a lot of times if you don't have like the best communication with your partner, or like, maybe if your partner is really not, listening to, how you're communicating and expressing yourself, when people go off to work, yeah, I think it's easy for, you to maybe start, developing a friendship with somebody, at your office or at your job. And, I think if you're having problems in your relationship or you're having problems at home, that's just like a recipe for, a potential disaster if you're a person who starts confiding in, maybe that person that you're working with, or you start to like see that person outside of work. Most people are not in the video, they joke around and they're like, kind of cuddly and, playing around. And I think that might happen, at work, I'm saying, next to the water cooler when nobody's looking, maybe. But for the most part, I don't even think that that's the space that people start, violating their relationships in. What I think happens is that it starts with, just typical conversation and laughter and banter. And then sometimes it progresses to, maybe talking outside of work, like either texting or on the phone. And it's like that space where you get to like, maybe you're going out for a drink after work with your coworker, or you guys are grabbing some lunch and things like that. That's that space to me where people start crossing the line. And when you start having like non-work related, more intimate conversations with your coworkers, I think that can definitely lead to opening up the door, to potentially having, affairs with, people that you're working with and things like that. And I've embraced relationships in the workplace before, but I've always been in a situation where I was a single person that was working at an office and essentially dealing with somebody that was also single. But I could totally see how, if a person was working and they were having some issues maybe at home or in their relationship, it could definitely be a breeding ground for like kind of, crossing those boundaries. And I can see why people get worried about, that closeness that you can have with somebody if, maybe you've blurred the lines too much. I don't think people should do that, but I think it happens quite often, actually.
Something that you just said really just stuck out to me. Like you said, having those conversations that are non-work related, things like that, right? What really stuck out to me is when you said, the conversations, maybe the texts and stuff like that. Because I want to know why they have your phone number. Why does your coworker of the opposite sex have your phone number?
Right.
Like, where did you guys get that comfortable? Now that right there, that's on something to like start the bells going off, because like I get it. You guys are, cool at work. You can talk to your colleagues all the time. We're grown-ups. We have conversations with people. I have some friendships that started at work almost 20 years ago. I have a friend who I met at work. I was 19, when I started working at that job. Um, and we're still friends to this day. So, yeah, you can develop relationships with people. It's totally possible, of course. But when it comes to someone, of the opposite sex or, someone you're into, it doesn't have to be the opposite sex. Also, let me say that whoever you are attracted to, um, again, why do they have your phone number? Because you guys can talk at work. What do you need to talk about off the clock? Now, if it's just, a friend, I don't know. I mean, I'm giving, yeah, my friends, my work friends, my numbers and stuff like that, but not someone that, like I'm attracted to. Cause, but then again, yeah, I haven't been in a relationship and given someone that I was attracted to my phone number from work. Friends and stuff like that, yeah, that's different. But I just would feel like if the mate that I have, I know what type of people they're attracted to, stuff like that. And then I find out someone has their phone number that I feel shouldn't. Yeah, that's kind of like a red flag to me. That's caused to have different conversations in the relationship, and that can cause like some issues, at home. What do you think about when people are at work and they do have that work wife, work girlfriend, things like that? Do you think they should come home and talk about that person? Do you think if they have that conversation, with their mate, and they mention this person, do you think it's okay to let your mate know that you have someone at work who, is making your day go by better, or do you think that's something they should keep to themselves?
So I'm an oversharer. So I feel like the most open space I want to be in is with my partner. If I'm in a relationship with somebody and we've decided that we're going to be committed to a relationship with one another, I want to be as transparent as I possibly can be. It makes me feel the most comfortable to know that I'm walking just as myself and I'm not pretending to be something that I'm not. If I have to do that or I feel compelled to do that, it's usually an indicator for me that it's probably not the right relationship for me to be in. Because I find that like when I'm the most open and the most transparent, like those are the relationships where I give the most of myself. So I feel like to answer your question, I would want to be able to come to my partner and just be really truly as open as I possibly can be. But I do think that you have to be, if you're oversharing or sharing details that maybe somebody's not asking you for, you also have to think about your partner and how does your partner receive information. And on the flip side of that, are you giving your partner enough validation? Because one of the things that I definitely noticed that I was guilty of, like when I was younger, is I would overshare and I would be so open about all the things that were going on, but there wasn't an equal balance to me talking to my partner and sort of reaffirming my partner and letting my partner know all these like wonderful and special things that I have about my partner. So the thing is, if I'm going to work and and my partner at work is like really incredible and makes my day go by amazing and is, assisting me in work and we're getting along great, and I come home and I'm sharing my day with my partner, the reality of it is I'd also have to provide balance to my partner and kind of reaffirm my partner and let them know how great of a partner they are. And how much, I'm grateful of their contributions to my life and things like that, so that there's kind of that balance. And so I think a lot of times the reason why people don't open up and share things is because they know that it's going to be received, probably adversely to the way that they want it to be. But I would argue, are you instilling things in your partner? Are you reaffirming your partner? Are you providing your partner with that level of security where they feel like when you say something like this, it's like, oh, okay, she enjoys what this person brings to her life, but like I'm her number one. You know what I mean? And if you make a person feel confident in the space that they're in a relationship, I think that like a lot of times they're not going to question those other things. But I also feel like I could see how also, like, again, like you said, we know our partner's types, right? I mean, I don't know if my guy's going to work and he's got some beautiful woman that he's, coming home telling me about, I'm side-eyeing a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I think honesty is the best policy. So I always try to lead with as much transparency as I can. That way there aren't any unanswered questions. Let me ask you this. Is there such thing as like a coworker or even a woman being too friendly? Like, a lot of people say that like opposite sex friendships are like really taboo. And I, for a long time, maybe like 2 decades, I had 2 male best friends that like I was super close with. So I've always been in relationships where I've been really close with men that I don't have a romantic relationship with. But do you feel that it's possible for men and women to be friends either at work or even just like maybe longtime friends that your partners had?
I definitely think it's possible. I've had a male friend where have a male friend. They have their relationship. I have mine. We've been friends since school. We check in with each other, our family, other friends, that we've had. So it's definitely possible for the opposite sex to be friends and it be, platonic friendship. It's, nothing but love and genuine love, not romantic. So I do think it's possible in the workplace as well. We're all grown-ups. You meet people, and just because you may know someone's type doesn't mean that they're, just going after this person. But it's possible. Like I said, I've have a male friend that I've had for years. Now, when it gets to the point of being too friendly, I think my views on that would be, like we talked about, why do they have your number and you guys are having conversations on things that are outside of work? Because me personally, I don't like to bring work home with me. And once I am home or if I'm having conversations with, my friends or family, I don't really like to talk about work too much because I'm more focused on the now, what we're doing, spending time with my family, having conversations about other things. So I'm not that big on discussing work with my family and friends. Yeah, like I'll mention it. We can talk about something, but I don't too much want to talk about work with those people. To be quite honest, I don't too much care about what happens at, my mate's job. Like, it's not really my business. It's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about other things. I will say this. I was on the phone with my other half and heard like some giggling in the background. And, it's kind of like a side conversation he called himself having. I'm like, hey, I don't want to hear that. And you can go ahead and tell her that it's not that funny, whatever you just said. I'll catch myself in situations like that. Like, I'm starting to think, what the heck is going on over there? Like, what's so funny? She over here giggling at my man and stuff. Like, come on now. So, those friendships, they're okay. In my opinion, I'm not, I don't really have anything too negative to say about it. But at the same time, I really think there is potential to be too friendly. Like, for sure. And that can start something, especially like you said, when the other person may be single and, you yourself or, the person we're talking about, maybe in a relationship, there is such thing as being too friendly. Where do you draw the line though, when it comes to friendliness? Is it too much for your man to make another woman laugh? Like, do you draw the line there? Is that too friendly for you?
Not at all. I feel like I'm usually fairly confident in my relationships for the most part. So I can be territorial when it comes to just my own requested space or my own requested time. But I definitely don't feel like intimidated or insecure when a man is like sort of entertaining another woman. I don't, it doesn't really bother me to that extent. I do feel like, I think there's sort of like a confidence that I have in myself just as a person, not even just aesthetically, but just as a person, where I feel like I contribute enough in a man's life where I don't feel like he's just gonna find that easily, quickly. So it doesn't bother me if, he makes a woman laugh, or, she thinks he's handsome. Like, I think he's handsome. So I'm not going to be surprised if, a woman thinks he's handsome. I don't think it bothers me too much. I just have to know that it's like, it isn't crossing any of the boundaries that I have. And I think as a woman, I probably have less boundaries than most other women. I think, at least like in talking to my girlfriends, like, I feel like I give a little bit more leeway, I think, because I like a lot of freedom myself. Like, I like to be able to kind of move with a little bit of freedom and a little bit of space. I kind of like want to be an individual and he's an individual, and we come together and we have our thing, but we're okay being just who we are independently. And so I feel like, to a certain extent, I don't always feel compelled to like kind of put that pressure on a man in that way. A lot of women disagree with that, but that's kind of how I feel. I think if it makes me uncomfortable, if it's anything that makes me uncomfortable, the first thing I'm going to do is express to the man why it makes me feel uncomfortable. And then if the man addresses that and he corrects that, or even explains to me why it's something different, I think I can have a little bit of understanding there. The only thing that would be like a red flag is if I was communicating something that made me uncomfortable with a man's interaction with another woman or women, and he really didn't take heed to what I was saying, or he didn't really pay attention to like my mannerisms or how my demeanor changed when I was, around. Like, if he's not picking up on those cues, that's problematic to me, because now you're not taking my feelings into consideration or even respecting a certain level of boundaries. But I am a little bit flirtatious, even as a romantic partner. I think there's just a certain aspect of me that's a little bit flirty. So I think I give a little bit more, I'm a little bit more forgiving maybe than some other people. How do you feel about it?
I think I'm opposite. I'm not going to give that much leeway because I don't too much, need it. But, like I asked you about your mate making someone else laugh, that's a trigger for me. Because what is so funny? I want to know. I want to laugh too. Now let me know so we can all laugh together. Let me know. What's so funny? Now he's a comedian. Now you guys got your own little comedy club going on here. Am I invited? So I don't want my mate too flirty, because you don't want me to get flirty. Because I'm gonna go to full mile. Then you're gonna be mad that because I'm funny. So if I get to telling jokes and I got another man laughing and stuff like that, listen, he's gonna crack up and I'm gonna have someone else giggling, and you're not gonna like that. So I just feel like if I was to voice it and just even kind of give my man an inkling that I'm not okay with that, like that, being a little too friendly and flirtatious, and you don't take heed, my next thing is gonna be bad. So this is what we're doing, yeah, bad. Watch, like Usher, watch this. You're not gonna like when I do it, so definitely don't do it to me. I'm not really too much of a friendly type, that quote unquote friendly type person. I do like having conversations with people. But if I'm in a relationship, I'm not too much, too flirty, like with opposite sex, because I kind of don't want to overstep boundaries, and I don't want to disrespect the person I'm dating, because I feel like, my views on it, as far as being flirty and stuff like that, or making someone else laugh, I don't like that. So I try to kind of conduct myself to, think about, how I feel. And everyone's different though. So, my mate may not care, if another guy laughs at my jokes or anything like that. But that is something for me to where the flirtiness is the issue, and um, it's kind of a bit bigger red flag to me than some other things. Um, and now, when we do talk about other subjects, there may be something that is not so big to me that's huge to other people, but something as small as, like making someone laugh. They're like, why is she tripping on that? I don't know, because I just feel like laughter is it's a very important part of connections. Laughter, it makes you happy, so I don't want my man making nobody else happy. I'm the person that needs to be happy, not his work friends.